All right, ready to dive into some survival myths. You know I love it when you guys send in your survival tips, and this time we're tackling some excerpts from Texto Pegado.
Texto pegado.
Yeah, it looks like a Spanish language survival guide, maybe a blog, some experts' notes. Not totally sure, but it's got some interesting stuff, let me tell you.
Sounds intriguing. I'm always up for a good myth-busting session, especially when it comes to survival. What kind of stuff are we talking about?
We'll get this. Myth number one is about herbivores.
Herbivores. You mean like deer and rabbits?
Exactly. We've all heard that they're harmless, right? Bambi, Thumper, all those cute Disney creatures.
Right. Gentle, docile
Yeah,
creatures.
totally harmless, or so we thought. Turns out, Texo Pagado has a different take on things.
Mm.
They actually tell a story about a hiker who got a little too close to a deer that was protecting its fawn.
Oh no. What happened?
Let's just say that hiker ended up with a fractured rib and a nasty gash on their leg
All from a deer.
from the deer's hooves. Turns out those cuerpos salsis, those salty bodies, can pack a punch.
Wow. I guess we can't underestimate any creature in the wild.
Definitely not. It's a good reminder that even animals we think of as harmless have survival instincts.
Absolutely. So what's the next myth we're busting?
All right, this one's for all the movie buffs out there. You get a nasty cut, what's the go-to solution?
Let me guess. Pour some whiskey on it.
You nailed it.
Mm.
But is there any truth to using hard liquor as a disinfectant?
Well, here's the thing. High-proof alcohol can kill bacteria. That part's true.
So there's some logic to it.
Kind of. But here's where the movie magic fades away. See, many liquors, especially the sweet ones, also contain sugar.
Ah, sugar. And sugar is like a feast for bacteria, right? Not exactly what you want on an open wound.
Exactly. You're basically feeding the bacteria you're trying to kill.
Plus, isn't harsh alcohol bad for the skin?
You're right. Using it directly on a wound can actually damage healthy tissue and slow down healing.
So what does Texto Pagado recommend instead?
They suggest betadine, which is iodine-based, and chlorhexidine.
Both good alternatives.
Definitely. Much safer and more effective. So ditch the Hollywood drama and reach for some actual antiseptic.
Speaking of Hollywood drama, this next myth is a classic. Lightning never strikes twice.
Oh, I've heard that one.
Right, but is there any truth to it?
Not really, no. It's all about the science of lightning. Basically, lightning is just electricity looking for the path of least resistance to the ground.
Okay, so if a spot's been struck before,
Exactly. There's a chance it still offers that easy route for a lightning bolt. It's not about being lucky or unlucky, just basic physics.
so those lightning scars you see on trees.
Those are like nature's warning signs. They're telling you lightning's been there and it could happen again.
Okay, that's officially enough to make me want to stay inside during a thunderstorm. Maybe even a light drizzle. Speaking of tiny but mighty forces of nature, let's talk about ticks.
Ticks, oh boy, yeah.
I've always heard that if you find a tick, you're in the clear as long as you get it off within 24 hours.
Right, I think we've all heard that one.
Is there any truth to that?
Well, Texto Pagado actually spends a lot of time on this one. It's not quite that simple.
So even if you get the tick off right away, you could still be at risk.
Unfortunately, yes. And this is where understanding the why is important.
Okay, so tell me more why.
So we're talking about diseases like Lyme disease and encephalitis.
Serious stuff.
Right, and those are caused by pathogens that ticks can carry.
So removing the tick quickly.
It minimizes the amount of time those pathogens have to get into your system, but it doesn't totally eliminate the risk.
So it's a race against time.
Yes,
But even winning the race doesn't mean you're totally safe.
exactly.
Makes sense. So what does Texto Pagado recommend? Do they say anything else about ticks?
They actually emphasize saving the tick after you remove it.
Wait, really?
Yeah, put it in a sealed bag or something.
Why?
Because if you start experiencing any symptoms, especially within a few weeks of the bite,
Okay, I see.
having the tick available for testing can be super helpful.
So you can find out exactly what kind of tick it was.
Yeah, if it was carrying any of those nasty diseases. Makes sense, right?
And it does. I have to admit, I usually just want to get rid of the tick as quickly as possible. I never thought about saving it.
Well, it's not the most pleasant thing,
That's for sure.
but it could be really important for your health.
Definitely something to keep in mind. Texto Pagado didn't happen to mention anything else about ticks, did it? Any other advice or anything?
Well, they do describe some of the creative methods people try to remove ticks.
Creative, you mean like those old wives' tales and stuff?
Yeah, let's just say some people get pretty inventive.
Like what? Give me an example.
Oh, I've heard people try to suffocate the tick with nail polish or petroleum jelly, hoping it'll just detach on its own.
Really? Does that work?
Honestly, I have no idea if it works. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend trying it. Texto Pegado definitely doesn't recommend it.
Yeah, I can see how that could go wrong.
There are even more extreme methods too, like trying to burn the tick off with a match.
Okay, first of all, ouch. And second of all, that just seems dangerous on so many levels.
Right. The safest bet is to stick with fine-tipped tweezers, grab it close to the skin, and pull it straight out.
The old-fashioned way.
Exactly. No need to get fancy. Okay, what's next? What other myths are we busting today?
All right, this next one is one that I've definitely fallen for myself. Minor burn happens, maybe from a hot stove or something. What's the instinct?
Let me guess. Grab the nearest ice pack.
Close, but not quite. I usually reach for the toothpaste.
Toothpaste. Really?
Yeah, a minty freshness has to be good for something, right?
That's what you think, right? But Texto Pegado actually warns against using toothpaste on burns.
Wait, really? Why? What's wrong with toothpaste?
Well, it might feel soothing in the moment.
It does feel kind of cooling.
Right, but it can actually trap heat, which can make the burn worse.
No way, really. I had no idea. So if toothpaste is a no-go, what should we do? I'm guessing ice is out of the question, too.
You got it. Ice can actually restrict blood flow, which can do more harm than good, especially for more serious burns.
Makes sense.
Texto Pegado is really clear about this one. The best thing, the absolute best thing you can do for a burn is to cool it immediately with cool running water.
Cool water, not cold water.
Right, not ice water, just cool running water for at least 10 to 15 minutes.
Got it. Cool running water. Check. I'm making a note of this. All right, what's next? This deep dive has been full of surprises so far. What else you got?
All right, last myth we're tackling today is a big one, and it's about missing persons.
Okay, missing persons in the wilderness, I'm assuming.
That's right. If someone goes missing in the wilderness, what's the first thing you're supposed to do?
Well, I've always heard you're supposed to wait 24 hours before reporting it.
Right. Wait 24 hours, let them find their way back. Don't panic.
Yeah, exactly. But is that actually the right thing to do?
So that's a myth that Texto Pegado really wants to bust.
Really?
Yeah, they're adamant about it, actually. Waiting to report a missing person can be really dangerous.
Really? Why? What's the harm in waiting a few hours? Maybe they just wandered off the trail or something.
Because in a wilderness emergency, every minute counts.
So it's really a race against time.
Exactly. We're talking exposure, dehydration, possible injuries. A lot can happen in 24 hours.
So if someone's gone missing,
Call for help right away.
they'll wait.
Don't wait. It could literally mean the difference between life and death.
Wow, okay. Texo Pegado didn't happen to give an example of this, did they? Did they say anything else about why waiting can be so dangerous?
They actually mention a case where a group of hikers got lost and one of them was injured. They waited almost the full 24 hours before calling anyone because they thought they could find their way back.
But what happened?
By the time rescuers found them, the injured hiker was in critical condition.
Because they waited.
Exactly. If they had called for help immediately, things might have turned out differently.
Wow, that's awful. But it really makes you think. So if you're going into the wilderness, what should you do? Besides not getting lost?
Well, first of all, always tell someone where you're going.
Like leaving most?
A note, tell a friend, whatever works. Just make sure someone knows your route and when to expect you back.
Okay, got it. So someone knows where you are.
Yeah.
And then what? What if something happens and your plans change?
If you have any reason to believe someone might be missing, even a hunch, call for help right away.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Better safe than sorry, right?
Absolutely. Well, this has been quite a deep dive. We learned about cuerpo salsas and why you should never put toothpaste on a burn.
And that you should always be prepared when venturing into the great outdoors.
Seriously. Always be prepared, question everything, and never underestimate Mother Nature. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.